Patreon subscribers, hope you're doing okay. So the Euro USD would hit its ATR target long, so there's your weekly open, and so we hit the medium term target. We'd had exceeded quite a bit above, and we took some stops out in the process. So good technical resistance at 106.53. Probably looks like we're going to get that stop loss cluster 106.20. We're 8 pips away, so it looks like we're going to grab that, isn't it? One above is at 107. There's your monthly pivot. So we'll be looking to challenge that perhaps next week. We've already done the move already this week, okay? So from a technical perspective, we hit its ATR target long. You can see how they sold it. And then, the price came up, and now they decided to go long up there. And so price has fallen. So I think we're definitely going to get that by the looks of things. 8 pips away. And quite a bit of liquidity there, so you can see how it's sticking out. Quite a big volume node there sticking out, so it's probably going to want to get that. Let's look at gold, and so we have flipped and flopped on the sentiment. We were buy, now we're back to sell again. The profitable traders are long, they're holding long, and so we crossed below 50% briefly. And we've gone above 50%. So some buying volume up here, actually. Let's do some more boxes. And yeah, wow, it's a big old candle. So we should probably be within this box, because that's where the buyers came in. So we should be at 1833 and above. I think what's going to happen is it just wants that first. We're only $3 away. And then your target HR target long at 1840. So potentially long to target HR target, and we should be in that box. Okay, that's going to be a support. Now this should be a support, but obviously we've got our technical metrics that say okay, job done now. There's your weekly open. Yeah, or did we start there? Well, anyway, there's your weekly open level. So, that's a good technical resistance. So I think down and then up, probably going to be safe, the one above. But, we can exceed the ATR target long. We can't, it's not like an absolute given that's going to hold resistance. We can exceed it, as the dollar yen proved. I think a couple of months ago, we just completely we totally broke the ATR target, and we carried on rallying. So it can happen. So we'll go and have a look at the pound, I guess. I just do these ones at random. I just look at things in no particular order. Okay, dollar yen. I was supposed to click pound USD, but it's fine. We will look at dollar yen. 136.91. So that's your SLC stop loss cluster. 135.20. Weekly open level. We're currently just below. So if you had a bullish bias to this, we are a buy on the sentiment, then you can look to target SLC. If you've got a bearish bias, then you look to target SLC. But it's quite strong technically speaking. You probably want to be buying the dips. Weekly open level though, yeah, we're just below. Also of note with the dollar yen, some patch notes there. The dollar is weakening, and the yen is strengthening. So you can see the grey, we're going to get a dollar yen interchange, technically, okay? So it might be worth noting, especially with that weekly open level, 136.42. So you could wait for some time to pass and then look for a short. But sentimentally we are a buy, so you'll be fighting that. And also you've got to remember to check your yields, and the yields were all positive from yesterday, without exception, and yeah, see, they're all green. So this is telling us that the dollar yen can do quite well because it's supporting the dollar against the yen. So you've got to be really careful. And so let's look at the pound. So you've got to be careful with that one, and be careful because it does move a lot, very strongly, and it can do quite a lot of damage as well. Pound, and then euro, no, Aussie, then Kiwi. Pound, there's your ATR target long. We'd had exceeded it, and we had to raise some stops in the process. You know, and the one below is 119.20, one above 121.50, and weekly open level is still holding. So if that breaks, then you're going to target SLC for a 30 pip gain, 10 pip stop loss, 30 pip, TP, 3R trade, entry there, TP there, stop loss there, 10 pips. 10 pips is fine. Everyone can handle 10 pips. It's not going to break your bank. So that's a decent setup there. Technically, we are above weekly open though, so you'd want to wait for that to break first. If we're above, then we're still fairly bullish, and ideally we'd want price to be above the monthly pivot. So I think, if we go risk on, then we're going to exceed the monthly pivots. But we have to remember on the bulletin, things are looking quite heavy on the indices. So if the indices start puking, the dollar will strengthen, and that's the fundamental. So this is obviously, if the indices fall, this is probably going to suffer as well as a consequence. So got to be really careful. We've got quite a bit of data today as well. So probably a break of that to get the SLC. AU. And then we'll look at NU. And so I think we're going to see some stops being taken, I'm guessing. One below 66.89, weekly open still holding, so you can look for a short, a weekly open. Could wait for those wicks actually. 67.28. We are a sell at the big picture, so wait for those lows to break to target SLC. So 30 pip, again 10 pip stop loss, so 3R trade, and then that's something you could do potentially. But we have still got weekly open currently, 67.29. Okay, and you. It's just a roller coaster, absolute roller coaster in the sentiment. And let's have a look how we're doing today on the technicals. So, we did this big roller coaster basically. Now we could be falling. So, ATO target long, we had exceeded, like the euro and the pound. And so we had exceeded quite a bit. We'd gone 35 pips above, and one above SLC is 62.99, and the one below is at 61.20. So there's a technical reason, justification for a stronger USD. There's a fundamental logic for a stronger USD in the risk appetite, in that we are falling fairly heavily, and technically, we hit that resistance on these cross dollars. So it's going to be tricky. Next couple of days will be difficult, I think, because we've got a little bit of a question mark on risk, and I think we won't have a trade of the day tomorrow because it's Friday, and we'll have to see how things pan out today. So the trade of the day, 58.67, we're 58.63, so it's minus 4 pips. So it could still be good, and you're just basically we're kind of hoping that they don't change their mind, which they might do on the on the certain trade that we've got running there. So that bubble should be a bit smaller. It should be the same size as the pound. So there's a good chance it's going to do all right, but we have to remember the risk on, risk off flows as well, because the Kiwi should be sensitive to risk on or risk off because it's a high beta currency, whereas the dollar is a safe haven, for example, and so is the Swiss. So that's today's video, and no trade of the day tomorrow. Be really careful today. We might be risk off, I think, the way that things are going, and the fact that they've gone quite long on their risk as well, on their bias. So I'll wrap up now. So trade safely. I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.